It's the best of times and the worst of times over at Amazon. During the 2020 lockdown, Amazon became a kind of cardboard umbilical cord for the United States, as we all increasingly relied on its deliveries to avoid fistfights over water bottles at Costco. That pandemic bump earned Amazon an extra $1 billion last year, bringing its earnings to nearly $386 billion, just a bit less than the entire GDP of Malaysia. But that windfall takes place among grave worker discontent and withering scrutiny from a hostile media landscape, all while populism continues to cluster up on the left and the right, agitating against free and open markets. So what is Amazon's response to the growing chorus of employee grumbling and ongoing threats of unionization? Is it to improve worker conditions and offer long-term job security? No. Focus on worksite safety? No. Try to make employment at an Amazon warehouse less obviously resemble meat drones frantically fighting the devil's conveyor belt? No. It's this, the ZenBooth. Amazon apparently looked at a glut of negative press coverage and disillusioned employees and thought, how about we just toss an artificial houseplant into a phone booth for people to hang out in? The ZenBooth also includes a fan, a skylight, and a computer which offers mental health and mindfulness practices. Who thought this was a good idea? To be fair, Amazon pays at least $15 an hour to all its employees, well above the federal minimum wage. However, the working conditions are still, according to many, horrible. Workers continue to complain, and it's been well documented that they receive 2 15-minute breaks on their 12-hour single-cycle shifts, but the break rooms are often a 15-minute walk from the work operations, meaning breaks are quick strolls to the threshold of a rec room and then immediately back to work. There are reports of high injury rates and chronic back and knee issues among employees. The number of complaints lodged against Amazon with the National Labor Relations Board more than tripled last year, while all of us got comfortable getting our bedsheets and groceries delivered to our doorstep by Amazon. And by all accounts, the job is incredibly stressful. It's like the chocolate conveyor belt scene from I Love Lucy, except instead of chocolate, it's sadness. And instead of Lucille Ball, it's the poor lady from Nomadland. And Amazon's solution is to slop some crap about mindfulness inside of a refrigerator box and then herd all of its worker ants to the conveyor belt after they've had their worries about medical bills and rising rents soothed by Alexa. Amazon is not looking to better the lives of employees with a ZenBooth. The ZenBooth is not for them. It's for the managerial class, which runs the news media, and an economic strata of upper middle class, college-educated journalists who love stuff like yoga, foreign films, and meditation retreats. Amazon hoped by building a small shrine to well-heeled liberalism inside of its warehouses that journalists would applaud the gesture and provide more favorable coverage. The ZenBooth is not an improvement, it's a tactic. Rather than responding to the needs and wants of their employees and their families, Amazon tried to appeal to lefty journalists who theoretically might root for them. This new breed of diet capitalism we're witnessing is the worst of all worlds, because this isn't about solving problems. It's about trying to trick the media into printing compliments while they continue to censor books, acquire more companies, and grow larger every single day. Unfortunately for Amazon's PR department, the social media reaction to the renovated Boo Box was really bad. This got ratioed so badly that Amazon deleted the tweets promoting the rollout. And I want to credit its critics for a moment, because it was Red Rose Twitter, the socialists, who saw through this thing first. Look, they don't understand economics or even human nature, but the Bernie bros do understand how the establishment left substitutes culture war for better business practices. This whole episode isn't just unfortunate for Amazon or its workers, it sucks for everybody, because it reveals a modern capitalist ethic which might be too cynical, too decadent, and too lazy to tackle real social problems. Free and open markets have lifted more people out of poverty in the last 100 years than every other human innovation over the last 1,000 years. Capitalism has, for all of its warts and plutocrats, been the greatest anti-poverty campaign ever devised by man. The neoliberal consensus, which dominated the West after World War II and then the world after the Cold War, is rapidly losing its hold on us. It's being shredded on the right by a rising tide of populist authoritarians, and on the left by radicals and resentful socialists who think markets are inherently evil. And the response, after cynically raising their wage to $15 an hour in order to squash mainstream competition, is ZenBooths. Look, if capitalism is going to survive the 21st century, it is going to require dynamic, responsive, and conscious capitalists to make its case. Semi-woke capitalism can lob as many houseplants and gentle words into meditation cubes as it wants, but cheap tactics and virtue signaling can only hide more important underlying issues. It cannot solve them. If corporate America wants to keep its head above the rising tide of populism and the resurrected specter of socialist nonsense, it needs to show us better capitalists, not woker overlords. Hopefully, Amazon will meditate on that.